Hi, this is Daniel here, and in this video I'm going to show you my method for troubleshooting high ACoS. So by high ACoS I mean ad spend divided by sales on Amazon. And when your ad spend is high compared to the revenue, the costs of acquiring a customer can also be too high, and they can cause you issues, right? So this has become a bigger deal, like a more common problem or situation that's challenging to deal with on Amazon, because in general advertising costs, ad costs have been rising on Amazon. So I've also been having this conversation a lot recently with other sellers, and I've been dealing with it quite frequently myself. So I've developed sort of a way of thinking about it and a way of approaching and ultimately troubleshooting these situations. Basically a way to figure it out in a systematic manner. So that's what I want to share with you today, and this might really help you, especially if you're also dealing with these sort of situations, either with new products or existing or older products. So let's just dive in. So the first thing I want to share with you here is this diagram, and I want to explain the concept first, and then I'll show you the steps, the actual framework for troubleshooting the situation, improving the situation. So the first thing here with the diagram, let me explain. So when you're running ads, there's basically phases to it. So let's assume we have a new product, and what this T here represents is basically like targeting, right? So this here is targeting. So this is keywords, could be ASINs, it could be different things you're targeting on Amazon with your advertising, where you want your ads to show. And the circle here, this really represents like the broadness of the targeting. So when you're targeting and you're targeting very specific, let's say, keywords or search terms that are very, very specific to your product, you've got like a narrow focus, right? And you've got a limited amount as well of things to target, because if you want to target more things, you want to obviously get more traffic, then you have to go broader and you have to start targeting things that are a little bit less specific. You know, here you're still really specific, but it's a little bit less than just the innermost circle here, right? And then it keeps going, and you can really start to go quite broad. And ultimately here, you know, you're super broad. These are things that aren't really related. Well, they're related, but they're not exactly what you're selling. You know, you're targeting things that are way more broad, and they can apply to a lot of different things. So that's what this represents. And when you're starting, again, let's assume you have a new product here. You will want to start like this, right? You want to start quite narrow, because the key thing to do with a new product, and this is, again, something I've been having quite a lot of conversations around as well with other sellers. So I'll kind of mimic that conversation here as well for you. But basically, like when you are starting a new product, and if you do it, you know, properly, and you start quite narrow, the first thing you want is you just want this to work, right? And this is what we call proof of concept. So POC, POC. So my handwriting is as bad as my drawing here, but hopefully that makes sense. So POC, this is a proof of concept. So basically, when you're starting a new product, you want this to work, right? So you want the most narrow, specific targeting to work. And when I say work, I mean here at an acceptable ACoS. So an ACoS that's not too high. So this could be obviously break even or below. It could even be slightly above break even to begin with. But you want to see that at least, you know, the product, the offer you've put up on Amazon works in a very specific way with ads, and it's close to the sort of ACoS you would be able to run at sustainably. Again, usually it's below it, obviously break even or break even roughly. because then when you combine that with organic sales, you should be profitable. But if it's way off, it's not proof of concept. So let's say your ACoS is like 60-70% or higher, like 100% or something, even with the most specific targeting, then you don't have proof of concept. Like, you don't have anything that shows you that this can work with ads, right? So the first step is just to make sure that it works very small scale, and again, breaking even roughly or better, right? So this is important to understand, because if it's not working, like let's say the ACoS is 75%, and you go and you basically like go broader. So if this is not like has like a 75% ACoS, and then you go and you launch more ads and you start to go broader, the ACoS is just gonna go even higher on these. So the ACoS will be like 100%, 125%, and it's gonna keep on going the farther you go. So you're just gonna scale a situation that's not working, that's not profitable, and make it less profitable, or make it lose and waste more money. So you don't want to do that. The first thing you need is that this can work at small scale, and you need to get this proof of concept, right? So that's the first thing to understand, because the way it works again is the farther out you go, there's really two things that happen. Like the cost per click, like average cost per click will usually be higher. So the broader you go, usually the more traffic there is as well, and there's more competition, and the cost per click will increase. Likewise, here with conversion rates, you're going to have a cost per click here, and you're going to have a conversion rate, right? So the farther out you go, the less specific it is to your product. The broader the targeting, the lower the conversion rate will usually be on those ads, right? So the conversion rate is going to go down, and the costs are going to go up essentially. And this is why, if you have something that is working, let's say a 75% ACoS here, and you go broader, the cost will go up, because the cost per click is usually higher, and at least the conversions will be lower. So the ACoS will be even higher out here. So in order to be able to go out here, and obviously this represents more traffic, as you can see, bigger circles, like more market share. It first needs to be really strong in here, right? So you need to have like a good ACoS in here. Let's say 10%, something like that, 15%, 20%. And then you can go out here, and let's say it's 10% at this level here, right? And you go out here, and it might be 15, 20%. And then you go out here, and it might be 30%, right? But that's the only way to scale. Is you need it to be strong with the most specific relevant things first. So essentially, like, this is cost per click, right? This is conversion rate, and this will again go down as you scale, as you go broader, and cost per click will go up, become higher for the product. So what do you really want to do? So the only way to scale, right? The only way to scale, I mentioned that as well, is you need to counteract this, right? So you need to evolve both your product, the offer, to maintain high conversions. So really what it means is at this level you will do even better. So if you had a 10% ACoS, it could go down to like 5%, because your conversion rate is getting stronger and stronger. So you're evolving your product, you're making it stronger and stronger, right? And then your advertising should be obviously optimal, highly efficient and effective, and that will keep the cost per click down, or at least help you like run the ads efficiently, so there's not a lot of waste. Because the broader you go, the more traffic you have, the greater the potential for waste. So if you have inefficient advertising systems, you might end up with a lot of waste. And so the average cost per click for you is higher, right? But with efficient advertising, what you pay on average per click can be lowered, right? Because you're eliminating waste, and you just purely have what's working for you in there as well. So this is obviously a simplified way to explain it, but that's high level how to think about it. So really, like, you need effective spend, and you need strong conversions to be able to scale. And then also you also need organic, right? So you need to combine this with organic sales for it to be really successful, because the truth is, like, the farther you go, if you want to really scale the product and go out here, so like you really go in here, then the key to be able to do that is to have good organic sales on the back of that, because your ACoS will go up. So your ACoS might be up to like 20-30% out here, but if you get 2, 3, 4 sales organically for each paid sale that's like 20-30% ACoS, let's say, then your ACoS, which is your ad spend divided by your total sales, will be acceptable potentially, right? So that might be 10% or something like that. So you might be able to sustain a higher ACoS, and the trade-off might be worth it, meaning that yes, your ACoS goes up, but because you have higher and higher sales volume, when you combine that with the organic, if there's a healthy organic mix, you make more money, right? So that's why obviously you'd want to scale, increase revenues, but also obviously profits. So that's the concept, like that's how we look at it, and this is critical to understand. Whether you're dealing with a product that's already like out here and you want to scale it further, or something that's in here. So I'll just reiterate, like if it's in here and the ACoS is too high, you don't want to come out here because it's going to get worse. You need to fix this, right? And you need to make it work at this level. And we'll talk about how to do that now. Or if your product is already out here, but you're struggling to scale further because the costs are going up, or even if it's just been here, like it has been doing fine, and then because the advertising costs have been going up on Amazon, like all of a sudden it's starting to climb up here, and it's still might have the same volume, but the costs are going up. You need to work on these things. Either or I should say either one or both of the like ad efficiencies with your systems, your advertising, how selective you are with your ads and things like that, but also like conversion rates in the offer. And obviously things can happen as well. If you're just stagnated over here, then Amazon's costs on average are going up. Plus, you might have new competition, so your conversion rates are going down. Then obviously things are going to go in the wrong direction, and you'll end up like down there, and you'll have to scale back. So you'll lose traffic and sales, and you probably understand the big picture now. So let's talk about what to do. So you want to, again, first of all, ask yourself, does this work at small scale, right? So do I have something that has proof of concept, right? So if it's a new product, that's the first step. Because if you don't have it, every other question is irrelevant. It's not about fixing your ads or anything. It's about getting it to work at small scale first. Because if it doesn't work at small scale, I promise you it's not going to work at high scale. So spending more on ads and things, trying to grow your advertising is not the solution. Likewise, if it is out here, then yes, clearly it works at small scale, because if not, you wouldn't have been able to get out here and assuming, you're profitable and everything. So if it works at small scale, so if yes, then what you want to do is scale within target ACoS and target ACoS. And that's accomplished by paid plus organic, like I already mentioned, right? So target ACoS is like the ACoS that you're okay with, and this can change over time. Like again, if you want to go out here all the way, like you're gonna probably need to raise the target ACoS you're comfortable with. And then you also need to have, so the ACoS that you're comfortable with is the target basically, because the higher it is, the more room you will allow to grow the product and the sales, the revenue, or I should say the sales specifically. It's more accurate to say that. And then same with the target ACoS, right? So you can set a target, what you're comfortable with there as well, and go as far as you can while staying within that. Because obviously it is a question of balancing efficiency on ads and basically keeping costs down while also factoring in the sales volume. Because again, sometimes higher sales volume, even with a higher target ACoS, and especially a higher target, or I should say higher ACoS and higher ACoS, is worth it, right? Because you get more volume, so you make more money. But that's something you need to figure out, where's the sweet spot, and ideally also you want to go full scale, maximize your market share. So if it was a small scale, again, if you're here, you can then scale it, right? If you're already here, you also want to obviously scale it, most likely, or see how far you can go. So the way to do that is to work on the paid and organic side of things, right? So we've got our ad systems, but also like ranking and listing optimization, things like that. And then also conversion rates, right? So you want to keep these costs down, try to improve them. If you're here, like you want to have the costs go down. And if you're when it comes to conversion rates, you want to be able to strengthen them. And then that's going to unlock the ability to go farther, right? So that's what you work on. If either you have a new product that has proof of concept working at small scale and you want to take it farther, so you work on that, while you're also obviously increasing the ads and scaling the ads. Same if you're out here, same thing, working on the same types of things. And you'll see in your numbers, if you're tracking the right things, where the bottleneck is, where the constraint is, where the limit is on the product. You can see it, and you'll understand it here as I go through this as well. So some of this applies as well, like the same concept. But that's, in a nutshell, what you do if it's working at small scale. If it's not working at small scale, so if it doesn't even work at this level here, then you got to troubleshoot. So that's really troubleshooting high ACoS. So there's two like rules of thumbs I like to use here. So if your ACoS here with just the most relevant, targeted, specific, relevant targeting you can possibly find for your product, has an ACoS of like 1.25 to 2%. Sorry, not percent. 1.25 to 2x. So 2 times, 1.25 to 2 times above your break-even point. So let's say you got a product, the break-even point is 30%, and your ACoS is 1.25 that, or 2x, so up to like 60%. Then it's likely you can actually, or the first thing to check is PPC efficiency. So within this range, there's a chance that you can actually go and reach your break-even point, like break-even ACoS, or go below it by improving your PPC, right? So that's this over here, right? So that's just purely like the way you're running your ads, the rank you're getting on top of that. I should have mentioned that here as well. But just the pure like technical elements of the pay-per-click, because it's possible to have this much waste for sure, like where half of the spend is wasted, and especially with a new product for the first 2 to 4, 6 weeks, maybe even up to 8, it's completely normal to have a lot of waste in there because you're spending money to test and learn. So if you're in this range, then the first question to ask is the PPC efficiency. And are you still within that optimization period where the ACoS is expected to come down because you're adjusting bids and removing waste and things like that? Or is it something you haven't done or you're not doing really well? Because then you could literally go into break even and below break even, to 20% ACoS or 15% ACoS, just on that alone. So then that might just be the thing that needs to be fixed or improved or worked on long enough, like troubleshoot, right? So, and also the closer to this, the better. Like the less far away the ACoS is to break even, obviously the clearer it is that this is this main thing to work on, troubleshoot PPC efficiency. Now, if your ACoS is like 1.75, because obviously there can be a little bit of both going on here, right? But if your ACoS is 1.75 to 3 times or more above the break even, then most likely it is not the PPC efficiency alone. That could be a part of it. Again, there's a crossover, but it's probably like not just that, because if it's that far away from your break even point, this alone is very unlikely to be the solution, because it's unlikely you're going to have that much waste in your ad spend, right? And it's unlikely that it's going to improve that much over, let's say, the next 4 weeks or the first 4 weeks of launching a product. So then in that case, it's most likely the bid scenario that you need to analyze and look at and really figure out. So I'll explain that now. Like, what is the bid scenario? So this happens a lot when I also talk to other sellers. Is we we discuss this, and maybe the seller hasn't really thought it through and they're not really aware of the situation. And this is also a big problem I see when it comes to just selecting and launching new products, is people don't consider this in advance, and they end up with a product that has just a fundamentally challenging, even impossible bid scenario. And then no amount of PPC efficiency will ever fix that situation, because fundamentally it's flawed. Like, it's just not a good situation. It's, again, it can be nearly impossible to fix sometimes. So what is the bid scenario? So it's basically your average cost per click divided by your gross margin. And this gives you a percentage, like a ratio. And this percentage is actually the required conversion rate on pay per click to break even. So let's just keep it very simple. So let's say the average cost per click is just $1, and then your gross margin is $10. This means that you can basically afford 10 clicks, right? Average cost per click is $1. 10 clicks to get a sale, to break even, because you have $10 gross margin. And then, if 10 times 1 is obviously 10. So then you break even if it takes you 10 clicks to get a sale. So if you just do the math on this, we divide 1 by 10, it's 10%, right? So you've got 10% here, which is your required conversion rate, right? So this is the conversion rate that you need to get to break even in this situation. So this is the bid scenario. And if it's 10%, now this will depend on the market and everything, but usually a 10% conversion rate is reasonable. It's something you can achieve. But let's say the average cost per click was $2 and you had a $10 gross margin. You would now have a 10% conversion rate, required to break even. And that can be more challenging. It can work, but it's certainly more challenging. Now, let's say you have you've got a $2.5 cost per click, and you've only got a $5 gross margin. Now the required conversion rate is 50%, which is basically impossible to achieve. So in this case, your gross margin is too low and the average cost per click is way too high in this market. So that's a near impossible situation to work with. So if you do the analysis and you're in that kind of situation, then obviously the most likely reason it's not working at small scale is just because you have an impossible bid scenario that you can't make it work. Or at least I don't know how to make something like that work. It's just almost impossible. But if you see this bid scenario is more like this, and it's 10%, let's say, required conversion rate to break even in this market with this product, with these margins, then that's most likely doable. But obviously you want to check where you're at right now. So if it's not working here and you check your conversion rate on the ads and it's 5%, well, now you need to double the conversion rate to make it work, right? So again, it could be a little bit of a combination here between improving PPC efficiencies and conversion rate. So again, it's like here and here, but this is certainly possible and most likely. And in this situation, you know what to do. You know exactly what to go in and fix. It's like you're clear and you can do something about it. And you can actually fix the situation instead of going and wasting your time, energy, and money on trying to just purely fix like the PPC efficiency, and the conversion rates are just the same, and obviously they will go down if you start to spend more on the ads, and it's not going to work, right? So primary objective in this situation is just to get a conversion rate that makes it doable for you to actually break even at a small scale, and then it needs to go above this, ideally, like to really be able to scale, because when you scale again, the average cost per click is probably going to go up. But over time, you can also obviously improve the gross margins. And sometimes you'll have to look at it if it's a very challenging situation and ask yourself, is there something I can do to have a higher gross margin in this market, like a bundle or a kit or higher price point? But fundamentally speaking, it needs to be an achievable bid scenario. And obviously, again, it depends on the market, what the cost per click is and what the conversion rate is, sort of like what's achievable. Because in some markets, you can have a super high conversion rate. Let's say if there's not a lot of competition, or if you have a very unique product, or the only really good option for this type of product, whatever it may be, you might see very high conversion rates. But sometimes it's the opposite. It's very hard to get strong conversion rates or high percentage-wise conversion rates in the market. So that's what you got to look at. And this is also why it's vital to test like new products and get the proof of concept, understand exactly what you're dealing with, and then you can determine, what needs to happen. And if you have, again, existing products that are starting to decline, like they've been here and then it's starting to like do worse or go back in scale, like less volume, and you're struggling, then you should really be focused on this. Maximizing the PPC efficiency, removing waste, etc. Also making sure you've got organic coming through as well, so you can sustain like a higher ACoS and still be very profitable. And also you should be looking to constantly improve the conversion rates, evolve the product, make it more differentiated, unique, whatever it may be. It's a lot of things this can involve, but it's a lot of things you can do to basically increase the conversion rate and counter the natural erosion as well. Because something you want to keep in mind is when you're in a market, it's never going to stay stagnant. And over time, this is what we see now, like I mentioned on Amazon, cost per click goes up on average in general. And also conversion rate tends to go down on average because there's more competition. So to be able to keep something alive, like a product, extend the life cycle, and also scale further, anyhow, you always, in almost any case, need to be constantly looking to improve your PPC efficiencies and strengthen the conversion rates. Make sure you've got good organic on the back of it, and that's how you deal with that situation. So it's more or less, similar, but not exactly the same, but you should definitely know the bid scenario at any given point in time and see how that changes over time as well for existing products. So that's it. That's what I wanted to share with you in this video, and I really hope this has been helpful. This is how I think about, view, troubleshoot, high ACoS. So you can apply the same thinking and the same framework to your existing or new products and see clearly, and this gives you the opportunity to do better because you know what you're dealing with and you know what to improve. Now, if you want to message me or respond back to this video, comments, questions, anything like that, I'd love to hear from you, and you're most welcome to. But I hope this has been very helpful and insightful for you, and that's it. Bye for now.